Although Pennsylvania has some large pockets of immigration, especially in northeastern Pennsylvania, we're relatively, immigration numbers are relatively low. We're dwarfed in comparison to southern states and border states, western border states. Give us some stats. Where are we in Pennsylvania?
Well, Pennsylvania, you're quite correct, is 31st in the nation in terms of the proportion of foreign-born or immigrant population. So we're nowhere near the top. Actually, there are 65% of all immigrants come to only 6 states.
So what are the honeypot states?
The honeypot states are California, Texas, Florida, New York, New Jersey, and Illinois. These are the dominant places where immigrants go, and Pennsylvania is not on that list.
Well, despite that fact, it is a burning issue in Pennsylvania, as evidenced by all the talk about immigration during the recent midterm elections. How do you explain that?
Well, the politics of immigration are sometimes different than the demography of immigration. But a key factor that has made the politics of immigration so strident across the country, including in Pennsylvania, is the fact that for the last 10, maybe 15 years, there's been a lot of redistribution of immigrants out of these 6 honeypot states into adjacent states and other states. And that in turn has created new streams directly from home countries to these new destinations. So all of a sudden, places that had not seen immigrants before are now confronting the fact that they have immigrant communities that are moving in, often very recently. So the issue of immigration, which before was a New York and California issue, is now a Georgia issue or a Pennsylvania issue. And so it isn't that there are large numbers, but it is that it's new and in communities that they have not been before.
And in fact, 8% of Pennsylvania voters considered immigration the #1 issue facing them. We talked about the fact that northeastern Pennsylvania has a disproportionately high number of immigrants, the Hazleton area specifically, which is getting a lot of play in the news for a number of reasons, most specifically because it has one of the nation's strictest ordinances to fight illegal immigration. Tell us a little bit about Hazleton and why immigrants started to go to that area in the first place.
Well, a little bit bigger context would be that we have had immigrants in Pennsylvania for quite some time, but they have been in Lancaster and the southeastern Pennsylvania area, and they've been from Puerto Rico, and they've been legal immigrants because Puerto Rico is a protector to the United States. The more recent immigrants kind of up the valley, and certainly in terms of Hazleton and well, Reading, other places, have come more recently. Many of them are Dominican, some are Mexican, and so here are new communities facing immigrant issues that they have found somewhat difficult to deal with, both positive and negative.
How do today's immigrants compare with those who came to this country and to Pennsylvania a decade or 2 decades ago in terms of educational attainment and age and those sorts of factors?
Yeah, if you look at even the 2005 Census Bureau materials, what you find in terms of Pennsylvania immigrants is that 35% of them are from Asia and only 25% from Latin America. And 30%, by the way, are from Europe. So you don't hear about the Asian immigrants, or at least not very much, or the European immigrants. It's the Hispanic immigrants. This has been the more recent stream because between 2000 and 2005, the Hispanic immigrants have increased in Pennsylvania by about 50%. Compared to only about 18% for the Asian immigrants. So there is a recency about this stream.
Well, they aren't spread evenly across the state or in terms of occupation. Can you tell us a little bit about the immigrants who are coming to Pennsylvania and the kinds of jobs they're seeking?
That starts with education. And what you will find is, again, from Census Bureau figures, is that about 35% of the immigrants, the foreign-born in Pennsylvania, have college degrees. Now, many of these are coming to Pittsburgh, oddly enough, or to Philadelphia. And that's much higher because the native population is about 24%. So we're getting a brain gain there. But on the other hand, a number of the immigrants are high school dropouts. These are disproportionately from the Hispanic streams. We have a very low percent of natives who are high school dropouts. So the interesting thing about Pennsylvania's immigrants is we have very high skilled and very low skilled. We hear about the latter and not the former.
And we hear about the latter because of the impact they have on those among our native population with a lower education.
Then you get in issues of direct job competition that certainly are confrontational. You also have concerns, as in Hazleton, about issues of crime, concern about housing. So these are certainly concerned about schools because many of the immigrants have children and they go to school, and this changes the mix of the educational programs.
There are some economists who have said that low-wage workers can expect a reduction in their pay of anywhere from 5 to 10% when there's a big influx of immigrants.
The key is what is the education level and therefore the occupation of the immigrants. And if they are direct competition, yes, you will get some lowering of the wages because you have often oversupply. So it's
really a supply issue.
Supply-demand issue. And, but, you know, one of the other impacts of immigration is often that they take jobs that natives won't take, largely because we have very low minimum wage in the United States.
There are enormous benefits to the immigrants themselves of coming to the United States, but nothing is all good or all bad. So I'm wondering if you could kind of sum things up by talking about the benefits and the challenges of the immigration we're seeing today.
Well, the benefits have to do with clearly things about the diversity in terms of the population. Some people will see this as a negative, other people see this as a positive. The benefits certainly are from high-skilled workers because they fill engineering and a lot of high-skilled where we do not have enough. We are, in fact, need to attract these. Therefore, productivity. They benefit in terms of the fact that the United States in the next 20, 25 years will have a declining native labor force. So all the growth in our labor force will either be from immigrants or for people not retiring and working longer. So therefore, they are the ones that are going to be contributing a lot of the taxes and the Social Security payments and so forth. On the negative side, you clearly get issues of direct labor force competition that we've mentioned. You get issues about whether the use of public facilities and the impact on education systems, if it is overburdening. So these are some of the impacts that often are talked about on the negative side.
All right, thanks so much for talking with us.
Pleasure.
A copy of the program you've just seen can be purchased through Penn State Media Sales at mediasales.psu.edu or by calling 800-770-2111.